I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. The first thing we'll do is please call the roll, Madam Secretary.
Yes, Chairperson Carney.
Present.
Thank you. Vice Chairperson Cancel.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Richards.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Brooks is absent. Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Thank you. And Commissioner Tarbutton Springfield.
Yes, here.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Now, folks saw, if you've seen the posted agenda, there was a few little mix-ups in the numbering there. So that's one reason that I want you to note that we'll be doing a little reordering. So for those of you who've watched, typically when we have a financial report, we have folks who travel in and we let them do their presentation at the beginning of the meeting. So if folks will be patient with their resident and public comment, I'm going to ask if we can first move the item of Gary DePace's presentation. Is Gary here?
Yep.
Yes, okay, thank you. And then the resolution. Thank you. If you want to read those.
I have a question, point of information.
Oh, yes.
My understanding is that, don't we ask when we're going to change something, don't we ask the board if that's okay? Instead of just saying, well, this is the way we're going to do it.
Well, we have not asked the board previously when we've moved Gary DePace up to the beginning that I recall. If you want to ask the board, it's okay with me. Sorry, I think that, am I still here?
Yes.
Okay, because my screen went black. I'm sorry, do you have an objection to moving? I don't mean to ask that. We have historically allowed for Gary to present at the beginning of the meeting. And I don't think we did that per motion. That was kind of like understood. And it isn't something that requires a motion. As I understand it, the chair can reorder. And I don't want to have a discussion about this right now.
Right. Excuse me, point of information. I didn't hear what you said. It's been a glitch. So I'm also going to go on my iPhone, if that's okay. So people can put me on there. I'll try to take away the noise, but I didn't hear anything. You got stuck.
I'm sorry, am I not audible? Do people not hearing me?
I hear you. I've been having some problems with the connectivity. So I'm going to also put it here and also on the iPhone because you got stuck.
I understand. I'm going to go ahead then. And actually, I'll wait because will you be able to hear the presentation by Gary DePace, Commissioner Tarbutton?
Right now I am, but I just want to do an added measure. Right now I can, but I don't know if it'll get stuck while it goes on. But let's hope you got stuck. So I don't know what's going on.
I'm sorry about that.
No, it's not. It's been that way. It's a connectivity issue that I had since I got back. So thank you.
Thank you. So I guess we'll just move on. Thank you, Gary, for coming, and I'll turn it over to you, please.
Okay, actually, what we have tonight is our financial statements for the halfway point through our fiscal year through December 31. And there were some things that I just want to bring up, which I spoke with the staff about already. And it's kind of anticipation. You know, we talk about the budgets and we talk about budget revisions. The one thing, if you look at the consolidated expenditure report that you have, you'll see down below where we have the percentages. Now we're 50% through the fiscal year. So if we were on target to everything would be at 50%. Well, the ones, obviously we're under in most cases, but we are over in two areas. And it comes down to our contract cost, contract maintenance, and maintenance expense. Are primarily contract costs, I'm sorry. And that's due to a couple of things that happened in extraordinary that was outside of the budget. One was, and I think Sharon, even we had her looking that up, we had to spend somewhere over $40,000 for a hot water problem at the Salvo house. So that obviously hit contract costs that we didn't anticipate. And we also had the bed bugs problems. So those two major expenses are in our contract maintenance and is showing that we're overspending on our budget. So what normally happens is we look at those items. Obviously, this is what's happened. It's forced us to look at that, to know that when we do a budget revision, we'll probably have to move those out of contract cost and into extraordinary maintenance. What happens is that becomes a direct charge to our operating reserve. You always hear me talk about our operating reserve. We want to maintain it at levels that the state allows. And it's there for those type of emergencies, but it's kind of a process thing. So for now, we look at this report and we say, oh yeah, we're way spending too much in that area, but we've isolated what they were for. We know we're going to move it on a budget revision. And we normally do our budget revision somewhere in the spring, probably March or April. It has to be in before 60 days before the end of our fiscal year, which ends in June. So in a way, it's a way of me saying this is by having these type of reports and we see these, this is why we monitor it monthly. So we know when we are off track and what we need to do to stay on track. So in terms of the presentation for the quarterly reports, the 400 program, MRVP, and 689, which require the vote tonight, that's primarily what's showing in there too, is that contract cost is being spent higher than what's currently budgeted. But we know what that's for, we know how to correct it, and we will be correcting it before the end of our fiscal year. So with that, I guess if there's any questions, we can go from there.
Thank you. Actually, before I go to any questions, I'm going to ask so that we can have our discussion. I'm going to ask Director Leeper if you would read the resolution, and then I'll ask if there's a motion to approve from the floor.
Sure. Resolution number 2024-01. Approval of the quarterly operating statements for quarter ending 12/31/23. Whereas the Northampton Housing Authority wishes to certify quarterly operating statements as indicated for each program. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of the Northampton Housing Authority does hereby approve the 401, 689 MRVP quarterly operating statements for quarter ending 12/31/23 as prepared by fee accountant Gary DePace and presented to the board. Further, that the authority and the executive director in their name shall be authorized on and after the passing of this resolution to do and perform on behalf of the authority all acts and the things required of the authority to perform fully all obligations. And be it resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately.
Thank you. Now I'll ask, is there a motion from the floor?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Richards. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Cancel. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to accept this quarterly report. And I know that Commissioner Tarbutton has her hand raised with a question, but what I'd like to do is kind of go around and ask just one at a time if there are people who have a particular question regarding the report. And then hopefully we'll be able to move from there to the vote. So Commissioner Tarbutton, yes, your questions for Mr. DePace.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well,
Oh, no, you're can't hear you now, Joe.
You are muted though. Yeah, there you go.
okay, so I'm just saying the pages aren't numbered. And so it's hard, like he was saying, I'm trying to follow up everything that the base is saying. So I'm without a bid number, I couldn't go to it exactly. And so I I'm finding it very difficult, even with some of the questions that I wanted to ask, because it's, I went through every one of them and it's just not numbered and, in the footnotes. So,
No, I know.
I just wanted to make note of that. It'd be easier to read
PDF
if it was.
that was issued under, when they were put in up on the website, they were in an order that were specific. But do you have that the major issue is the consolidated report. Do you have that?
Which number is that? Okay, I have consolidated expenditure report. I have a few of
Yes,
them, do I not?
Yeah. That's the one that I was trying to present to show. Basically, you look at the percentages on the bottom part on there, and the very far right-hand side has
Yeah.
percentages. And usually what this tool is used for us and for yourselves to look at, oh, okay, Jack's get that. That's perfect, Jack.
Oh, perfect, Jack.
Thank you.
Down below, you'll see the percentage under contract costs at 62.4%. Now, that's what kind of highlights us to know that it's greater than our 50% because we're halfway through the year. And that's when we start saying, how come? And when we looked back, we started seeing the major expenses under contract costs. Two of them were extraordinary, and one was the bed bugs at Salvo House, which has cost the authority substantial, and hot water at Salvo. So if we do a budget revision, we will be able to budget those in line item 4610 for extraordinary maintenance and move those expenditures out of that line item and into the extraordinary maintenance, in which they'll be charged to our operating reserve. So that's
Okay.
kind of what we use this tool for, and that's how we kind of manage our budget.
Okay, I see one thing that has, okay. Oh, okay, that's the same one that I have 40%. Does it say anywhere exactly how much the bed bug issue cost was? And did you say hot water? That has nothing to do with the mini flats. So it's just a hot water issue
Hot water.
that's here
And
in Salvo?
If Sharon's on, I know she pulled those. We talked with her the other day. We kind of pulled it. I believe we're somewhere about 40-something thousand, 42,000 was the hot water, and I think we were over 100 and some odd thousand for the bed.
That's correct, Gary.
Okay.
I didn't hear, what was it? I'm sorry.
I said that's correct. The bed bugs were right at about 100,000.
Oh, 100, I didn't get the number. Thank you.
And the hot water issue was that the circulating pump went at Salvo. It had to be ordered. It was an emergency in order for residents to have hot water.
Is there another question, Commissioner Tarburton, for Mr. DePace?
Yes, I just wanted it to be numbered so it would be easier, but thank you for whoever Jack and Sharon for making this a little clearer, but I had a couple of questions, but I appreciate all the great work he's done, but I'll wait on my vote.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Cancel, please. You're muted if you're speaking. I don't know.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
Thank you, Mr. DePace. I just had a question on what the account 1162, the investments that says on investments unrestricted. Is that also additional funds besides the operating funds?
Yeah, are you looking, that's part of our cash management. It just is an account that we have at Mass Municipal Depository Trust. It's separate from the bank that we have, but yes, that's part of our cash funds. And are you questioning that on the balance sheet?
No, I'm just wondering. I just wanted to clarify what that account was. Thank you.
Okay, yes, that's what it is. It's just another cash account of where we have it. But that's actually sitting at the Mass Municipal Depository Trust.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Commissioner Cancel. I want to actually circle around just to make sure. So I'll ask Commissioner Richards, do you have anything particular for Gary or for?
No, just to say thank you and thank you for the explanation of the overspent item.
Okay, thank you.
And Jeff, how about you? Anything?
Not really, just if you look at that same column that Gary was citing, the total down at the bottom is 40%. So if we're supposed to be hovering more or less around 50% for a lot of these categories at mid-year, what explains the difference right now, Gary, would be my only question.
Well, one of the things is that last year in the budget, we got a substantial increase. And I think gearing up to start getting those expenditures, that's part of what it is. And if you remember, part of this number that's in that percentage too includes an amount that we budgeted in the federal program of 600,000 that was only going to be used if HUD or Washington decided to recapture some of the funds. So that changes that percentage, the overall percent. I'm not saying that, but one of the things that we always look at, I always feel more comfortable when we're under that threshold than over. That's why I was kind of looking specifically at the over accounts to see what those items were, and that's exactly what it is.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. And I had just one comment too. It was really helpful when looking at the sheets on the screen share that indicated the column, here we are at the halfway mark and how far over the 50% we've gone in certain categories. As you said, Gary, in terms of a tool, it does help us understand then where we may recapture, especially if we've just come out of a couple of circumstances that were extraordinary, like could refer to as extraordinary maintenance and those things. So having a better understanding of that and how we might be able to deal with those things is really helpful. I'm going to move right on now to the vote. I really don't want to go back unless there's something very important you need to ask for. Do you need to ask something to Gary? So I'm sorry, Commissioner Tarbutton? Is there another question for Gary?
I did have them, but.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
My vote will answer for me. So, thank you.
Your vote will answer for the question. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Is there any other? Then I'll go ahead then and ask the secretary to call the roll, please.
Yes, Madam Chair. Resolution 2024-01. Approval of the quarterly operating statements for quarter ending December 31st, 2023. Chairperson Carney.
Yes.
Thank you. Vice Chairperson Cancel.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Tarbutton Springfield.
No.
Commissioner Richards.
Yes.
Thank you. Madam Chair, 4 yeas and 1 nay.
Thank you. Okay, that motion carries, and thank you everybody for your patience and allowing us to move that forward. Thank you, Mr. DePace, again for coming as usual.
Okay, thank
And
you.
I think that brings us again now right to what would be ordinarily the first part of the meeting, which is that resident and public comment. So if you have the agenda in front of you, you'll see that as we typically do, we open with public comment. I wanted to just take a minute to point out the items on the agenda tonight. The one that we just took care of that, preceded your comment. And then later on in the meeting, there will be a utility allowance resolution for us to consider. And I don't know how many folks are here to talk to either of those. You'll also hear, the couple of reports. We have the executive director's report, and then later on in the meeting, we would have had another committee report, and then a report from a commissioner on the CPC committee. So I just want folks to know that while we hear resident and public comment, if you're speaking to specific items that aren't on the agenda, we can't actually address your comments. And so we actually have the practice, we don't address those comments right in the meeting. And that seems, it took me a while to understand that, because it can seem really difficult, especially in emotional issues, if someone comes and gives, a very strongly felt public comment for us to hear, and then we just sit here and don't respond. It seems as though we're uncaring or dismissive. And I just want people to know that we want and we need to hear public input, resident input. There are some limitations that don't allow us to address those in the meeting, mostly related to open meeting law. But we are committed, and you will hear then reports back at the next meeting from the executive director in terms of how specific resident issues were addressed that had come up in the public comment. So without further ado, I just want to open it up to that, and Jack is going to facilitate calling on folks who are in the room tonight. So I'll hand it over to Jack, please.
Perfect, thank you. So I just want to remind everyone that residents and the public are given 2 minutes to speak. When you start your public or resident comment, please state your full name, and if you're a resident, what building or property you are calling in from. The first person on my list is Angela Santinello.
Hello. Thank you for calling on me, Jack. I love it when you call me first. Anyway, this is Angela Santinello from the Salvo House. And thank you for opening up the laundry rooms. That is one less complaint that we're hearing about here. So we want to thank you once again for getting those taken care of. And thank you for everything you did to help rectify the bed bug situation in this building. It's greatly appreciated that it didn't get spread to all 192 units. It was only 2 handfuls or so, but thank you so much. The diligence in which y'all handled all of that and made sure that everything was eradicated was great. So thank you. I don't have a whole lot to report other than I've been back in contact with Northampton Open Media about all of the upgrades that we're wanting to do in the community room for all of the residents. And they have spoken with the vendor now, so they're in the process of purchasing the equipment for the computers and things like that we're going to use the ARPA grant funds that we were awarded last year for. So we're sort of in limbo waiting on Northampton Open Media, but they are working on it right now. So that is still in the works, and hopefully it'll be moving forward pretty soon. So that's my updates, and thank you for what you're doing.
Thanks, Ms. Santinello.
Thank you. The next person I have on my list is a call-in user. Can you let me know it's call-in user 2? I have unmuted you. If you are calling in, you can press *6 to unmute yourself. We're going to give that person a second to unmute themselves. So any call-in users who would like to... Hi, okay, the person who's speaking right now, your phone number ends in 4589. Can you let me know if you're a resident or a member of the public?
I'm a resident, but I need to go last because I just was able to sign into the meeting. The type's so tiny and it's hard for people with, vision stuff. So I'm gonna listen. I love listening. I can't get you on the computer, but call me at the end of the residents, please, if you could.
Will do.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next person I have on my list, I believe is a resident, is identified as Caracol. It's Caracol. Okay, now we're going to go to Mr. Edwards.
You ready? You talk. I'm David Edwards from the Salvo House. Still, I'm the president of the still unrecognized LTO. And we have a number of residents here with concerns that would like to voice their opinions. I'm gonna turn it over to them. Good.
Hi, I'm Lisa Walter Sabo, 627. Yes, like Angela, I would like to say thank the Housing Authority for finally opening up the community room and the laundry room. But we are having problems now.
So Mr. Edwards, Lisa's going in and out. If you can hear me, it would be helpful if you turned off video and then just let everyone speak. I'm gonna give the folks over there a second. So Mr. Edwards, if you can hear me yet, it's helpful if you turn off your video. Oh, I'm actually gonna stop it and let's see if we can hear these folks again. Okay, they just hopped off, so I'm gonna go to the next person and then I will swing back around when they get on.
Thank you.
Tamina Garcia, can you let me know if you're a resident or a member of the public? And I apologize if I mispronounce everyone's last name. It's Tamina Garcia, I believe. You have the ability to unmute yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, are you a member of the public or a resident?
I'm a member of the public. My mom lives in one of your buildings.
Okay, give us a couple minutes and we will go swing back around to you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I am going to go back to the individual Caracol. I believe you're a resident. You were on camera when we first joined. Are you interested in giving a public comment this evening? And the other person, they're identified as NFD 881977. If you are a resident, you can unmute yourself. And if not, I will move on to Joella. Are you going to give a resident comment this evening?
I am, because I am, yes.
Okay, perfect. I will go to you next then while we wait for the Salvo folks to come back.
Firstly, I want to thank the large print agenda. That's very helpful. Every little bit helps. I also not quite sure, but with the bed bug situation, I think some people were given a $250 furniture thing for Bob Furniture. I threw all, if not most of my stuff away because of the bed bug. So is there a way you apply for that? If so, I'd like to know about that. And also, I've said this many times, but I wish the newsletter and the notices would also be emailed. Like for me, I was in Texas and I didn't get some of the stuff here because I wasn't at my door. And so the newsletter and stuff like that, not a lot of people use email, but I have an email account, but I do think, you know, with certifications and things like that, we could get an email, especially because Northampton Media, that's where we're going to be going. So it would be a good idea. I'm not saying abandon one, but also someone told me something that I think that we should realize. When you bring in stuff at the door, people here already have anxiety. Some have had people come to their doors that they're not too pleased about, and this is triggering for some. And I know one person thought someone was trying to open their door when they were trying to put it there. The lock was moving. So I think we recognize that if we could just try to be more sensitive to that, so you're not unbeknownly triggering people. And I think email is an option too. And I have to say the newsletter are really great. I saw several times. We love our residents, so I'm glad that's been said. I would like to see more regarding that. I I'm still not sure if people are saying the bed bugs have been eradicated. They haven't checked my apartment, and somebody brought some stuff in that had a bed bug from outside, brought it back in. So I haven't opened any packages. I never really did. Sometimes I was accused of it, but I'm hoping everything's okay. And I just wanted to say, as far as the bed bug situation, I wondered if that $1,000, $100,000 was all along for the year or just recently. And I never really got an idea how many apartments. I got some from the news coverage, but how many apartments were inflicted with bed bugs. And I just want to
Well,
say,
you're at 20 seconds left. I don't mean to interrupt.
well, claiming that time here, I just want to say there was some years ago that Fort Sander had bed bug situation, and they even said to themselves until the news came out, and you had a teach-in, same bug company. So there was a way that other people could benefit from teaching and education what it is. Far too many people said they were bugs and they didn't know what they were. So you had a precedent in the past, I think it was 6 years ago, where you did that, but it never happened here. And it could have prevented a lot of problems and saved a lot of money too. And yeah. Am I done, Jack? Or
Thank you. I'm sorry. You're just over your 2 minutes, so I didn't mean to
well,
cut
thank
you
you.
off.
That's okay.
Thanks, Ms. Tarbert Springfield.
I am now going to go back to Mr. Edwards. Mr. Edwards, can you do me a favor? I'm going to have you keep your video off. It helps with the connection. Oh, they still aren't connected to audio. Let's give them a second.
Jack, I asked Ms. Santinello to go down to the community room. It seems like she has a good connection. If they're unable to connect, she's offered kindly to pass around, her device so that people can have their speak time.
I do have it connected here, and I can start back with Lisa because she was in the midst of discussing it whenever she was talking. So here's Lisa. You'll have to pass it around.
Recording in progress.
Hey, so what I was saying is that
It's gonna echo.
Yeah.
what I was saying is that hopefully we can continue trying to keep the laundry rooms clean and respected. And I just want to thank the housing authority for all that they've done. I mean, it's been hell for everybody. And so I can't hear them. I can't hear myself.
We can hear you. We're not saying anything, but thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can pass it to the next one.
So here is John.
Hello.
Thank you.
Hi, John White of Salvo House, apartment 420. I have been our monthly magazine that we get, which is very, very good. I got one problem on it. It says stickers required. Please remember that all vehicles, I'm quoting this, please remember that all vehicles parked in our community parking lots must display the appropriate parking sticker. If you do not have one, please stop by the office and register your vehicle. Now, if you do not put a date or, such and such a date, they will be towed. I will be reading this next year at this time because this is a lot of, right there, that paragraph is a lot of garbage as far as I'm concerned, because it's going to be eternity for that to go on and on and on unless you put a date on it. Thank you. Next person. John?
No, I don't have anything to say. Because I cleared the building if I did.
Yeah, this is Larry White, apartment 503. Now, over a year ago, I put in for a walk-in shower. My wife fell 3 or 4 times. She broke her both shoulders. Then she came home after rehab. She fell again, and then she fell again. It's all been documented. I got all the paperwork I needed. I turned it into the office. Jose okayed it. He sent it to Kara. He okayed it. I got a paper stating it was all approved. I'm still waiting for it. They put in 3 or 4 showers since then. They put in 3 or 4 showers since then, and I'm still waiting. Every time I ask about it, well, we don't know. We have to check it out. Yeah, we'll have to check for your paperwork. Well, I mean, it's been a year they've been looking for that paperwork. I mean, they must have found it by now. I mean, I'm getting ready to call the Handicap Association. That's by law, you're supposed to do that. As long as you turn the paperwork in, by law, you got to put it in. That's the law of the Handicap Association. I know because my mother-in-law, ex-mother-in-law, she was in charge of that. So if it ain't done pretty soon, you're going to be hearing from them. Thank you.
Ken?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I am from the Salvo Nut House. I live on a second floor. I have a big question.
I'm sorry, could you please tell us your name, ma'am?
It's Jeannie Engel.
Thank you.
I got 2 things to ask. Can I talk?
Where's yours? Yes, go for it.
Okay, I have a question. I know there are people ahead of me, but I asked and I have doctor's orders to have a parking space. So why can't I have one? When they said I'm number 4, what does that mean? Do I have to wait forever to get a parking space? My doctor's orders have been in there since 2021 when I fell on your property. The other thing is, you gotta do something about, I know you can't, do something about the drug dealers in the building, please, because I'm sick of this. There's so many people coming in this building. They're all homeless. Or there's a kid that's sick that was in someone's apartment. She doesn't even live here. Do something about the second floor, because I don't want to live here if you can't control it. The police can't control it. Amanda can't control it. So somebody's got to control it. And I'm done.
Thank you.
Yep.
No.
I've seen too much action on the second floor.
Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Roy Martin, 81 Con Street, apartment 529, 413-387-9394 is my phone number. You know, there's a lot of things going on here that people don't quite understand. I think the police are well advised about who's dealing drugs, but they have to actually catch them in the act. And that's hard, you know. It's very hard to catch someone in the act of dealing drugs. So people can go and say, okay, I know so-and-so is dealing drugs, and so-and-so is dealing drugs, but that's only hearsay. That's what the police say, right? They have to have hard evidence, catch them in the act. So anyway, right now that's for the drug deals. Now the laundry rooms, all right? I think because we have a lot of workers here, the workers should have some time in the mornings, right, to be able to go in the laundry room and do the laundry for their clients. So I think something has to be set up so they have their time, because they only have a certain amount of time with their clients. So that should be worked out too. Now the LTO, right? They're having trouble with their paperwork. You know, I'm not in favor of the LTO, but I will speak up for him, because if Kara and the attorney, if they can't get together and do things the right way and treat these people the right way, right now, these people have been fighting for it. Al's been fighting a long time for it. And, you know, they seem to have got the votes, all right, which, you know, is something that, you know, I'm not in favor of the LTO, but they have a right to have it. And they have a right for all the people that voted for it to be able to have the LTO. So, and with that, right, you know, myself, I'm doing everything I can to get everything cleaned out of my apartment so that they can put them mini splits in. I talk to the guys every day. So, With that, right, Kara, thank you for the laundromats, right? I think Brayman was pulling your leg about bed bugs. I think they were going around, the guy was going around with a little pill bottle full of bed bugs and helping people to have bed bugs. He showed me the little pill bottle he's got. He said, see, this is what they look like. Okay.
Roy, you got 10 seconds.
Yeah, okay. Bye.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Al Shagnon, apartment 329, president of the LTO. We're working hard with the residents, and we'd like to follow the 766.092 and have a courteous working relationship with LHA. We would also like to be recognized as an LTO. We thought we may be recognized this week. There's been different things said, and we're being flip-flopped in different directions. But we have Mass Union working with us, and I hope to get recognized for the people soon. I do want to say a couple other things about the security in the building. There's a lot of traffic coming in and out. It's been reported and documented. We have a no trespassing thing that was posted. We went over 6 months ago, maybe a little longer, and it isn't updated. Well, 2 of those people been caught sleeping in the building already. One is a second-time offender. That is something that needs to be taken care of. The security of the people are scared, and we need to help them. Correct this matter, please. And I hope to work with you all on the bylaws so we can get these passed for the people. And we have a great working relationship with LHA. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Chagnon.
Jack, it looks like that's all of everyone.
Thank you, Angela, for using your cell phone. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Before I go back to our call-in person, is there any other residents who have Zoomed in who would like to unmute themselves? Again, this is residents. There are 2 other folks that we haven't been able to identify yet, but I am going to go ahead and let Miss Chapman go ahead and unmute yourself. If you can press *6, the floor is yours.
Okay. Oh, hello. I want to introduce myself. Yeah, I'm really glad to hear the other residents go first. First, I want to say go Union, Mass Union. Those guys have it going on. I heard word that the director wanted to see us have LTO. So there's probably ways to facilitate, if we could get your help doing more things. Some people are interested. And I saw that the director's been involved with some other stuff around town with physician women that help get housing for people that have been like, a pillow, a book for their head. That's it. And they get housing. And the director mentioned using these trucks, these locksmith people for helping and storage stuff, which I wondered, was that something the board approved? Is there a reason why she's considering that kind of thing now and not when we had asked for that earlier? But, because it would be great if we had a little room and you could put a store in there, people can come in and, get free stuff. Whatever, there's a lot of things to do, but I was going to say something else and I think it's kind of important. Safe in your home. We want to be safe, right? We want to be healthy in our homes. These bathrooms, the woman, please, if there's old folks that are fall risk, I'm one of them. Please get us our bathrooms, the tubs and move them. We got to be able to get in and out as easy as possible. And I I guess that's all. Congratulations, Kara. I hope your new gig goes well. I hope it's not too much for you because, you know, we need your big brain around here to help us out. Thank you. That's all. I'm going to sign out. My battery's gone.
Thanks, Ms. Chapman.
Okay, it looks like that is all from residents. I am going to move on to the public. We're just going to do a final check, make sure there's no one else. We'll give a second. And then I am going to go down my list. I have Ben from Mass Union.
I'm sorry, Jack, you skipped the staff comment.
Oh, I apologize. It's staff before public. Is there any staff members with comments? You all have the ability to unmute. Not seeing any. I am going to jump to Ben from Mass Union. Are you here to make a public comment this evening?
No, I'm just here to watch.
Okay, thank you so much. The next person I have on my list is identified as NFD 881977. Are you a member of the public? Okay, then I am going to go to Tamina Garcia. You have the ability to unmute yourself. Just let us know your name again.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Tamina Garcia, and my mother lives here in one of the NHA buildings. And I just wanna say a lot of people have been complaining a lot, but my mother's been living in NHA for over 25 years. And I've been seeing past administrations how been dealing with and how administrate the buildings. And it's a big difference. Before we don't have cameras, console units, rugs, etc., etc. So a lot of people complain, but they don't see the upgrades, and it's sad because when somebody try to like congratulate the NHA, the other residents start bullying these people when they're not agree with their agenda and stuff like that. So I think like it should be understandable. Not everybody's going to be agree, but they should respect everybody's opinions. It's just people happy with the work they're doing, they should respect that. And don't start bullying them or giving the dirty look or stuff like that, because it's a lot of elderly people and that can affect them mentally, That's my comment.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Tamina
Ms.
Garcia.
Garcia.
The only other person I have unaccounted for is a call-in user. If you want to press *6, I apologize, to unmute yourself if you haven't spoken and you would like to. If not, I am going to turn it back to the chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, everybody, for your comments tonight. And just as a way of wrapping up, I just want to say that, you know, I heard a lot of people talking about wanting to feel safe and safety. And it is something that, you know, we do hear those concerns. I really appreciate your coming. You'll hear more if you had specific concerns about your unit or something. They were noted by management tonight, and you'll hear a report back at the next meeting regarding that. I know in our next item on the agenda is the executive director's report. So I just want the public to know that this is the way, this is part of, well, it's actually contractual. The executive director is required each month at the monthly meeting to give a report of activities, because the executive director is responsible for all of the operational activities for the housing authority. And so the report typically includes all of that. We don't get to talk about the details of that report because we're limited to those items that are on the posted agenda. The posted agenda includes items such as the one we heard earlier from Gary DePace, the quarterly financials, later on, you'll hear us talk a bit about approving of the recent meeting minutes. And then again, later on, there's another resolution regarding the utility allowance. It's those items that you'll hear the board speak about, because those are the ones that that are posted on the agenda, and not anything else that you may have heard. But you will have other opportunities to hear back. And you can always email as well to the executive director regarding questions for her report. So without further ado, I want to turn it then over to the executive director for that report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The executive director's monthly summary for January 2024. Our GPR was $222,689. We collected to date $213,349.20, which represents 96%. The delinquency is currently 140,232.46, which is down $4,000 from the last meeting. We had annual recertifications in Section 8, 87, public housing, 0. 82 of the Section 8s were completed, 5 expired due to lack of submission from the resident. Waiting lists, federal applicants, we have 96 one-bedroom applicants, 34 two-bedroom applicants, 23 three-bedroom, 2 four-bedroom, and Section 8 has 58. The number of state applicants in the family housing is 19,381. Elderly disabled is 4,923. We had 7 move-outs in public housing. Section 8 had 3. We had 12 move-ins in public housing. Section 8 had 5. And we have 2 public housing residents on notice. End of month vacant ready is 2. End of month vacant unready is 8, for a total of 10, all which are pre-leased. We completed 12 make readies this month, and 10 of which were complete rehabs. We took in 379 work orders. We began the month with 31 work orders. We've completed 352 work orders to date. We currently have 58 incomplete work orders. Executive director follow-up to prior meeting items. Resident concern, several residents from the Salvo House voiced concerns about laundry rooms and community room closure. The action taken was after a full building inspection resulted in only 1 unit having a single bed bug sighting. The extermination company was able to fit us in and treat the unit on January 16th. We're excited to announce that the laundry rooms and common areas were reopened on January 17th. Since the laundry rooms were first closed on October 16th and reopened on January 17th, for the inconvenience and to allow residents to recoup their out-of-pocket costs that may have resulted in doing laundry off-site, or to catch up on the backload that they may have had, residents were informed that the use of the laundry facilities would be free for 3 months, which was equal to the amount that they were unavailable. Second concern was brought up by the Forsander LTO, which was a concern about the number of handicapped residents were more than the allowable amount. The LTO was informed that we are currently occupied by 19% handicapped residents, and that we have given elderly applicants priority to increase the number of elderly residents, which follows the regulation of the 760 CMR 5. We're updating events. We're currently preparing for our annual independent audits, which are both very arduous tasks. So the staff is currently very busy. We've completed more than 3 floors at Salvo with the mini split installation. We have had many meetings with state capital team regarding the Salvo stove issues. I'm happy to say that we tested another model and had positive results. The team is currently procuring these 90 units that we look forward to soon making the announcement to residents of anticipated delivery dates. I am also delighted to inform the board that EOHLC has agreed to pay for the replacement of these stoves. Some have reached out to inquire about the progress on LTOs. Although I sent an email to commissioners, for transparency's sake, I am including the information in this report. We have recognized 4 LTOs. 1 is in the process of recognition, and 1 is in the beginning stages of formation. Recognized LTOs at Forsander, Tobin, McDonald's House, and Hampshire Heights. Although some of those don't have operating officers, they are still recognized associations. I'm working with residents to, and I emailed Mr. Echeverria of the Mass Union to see about helping those residents get officers reformed. The LTO is in process of recognition. Salvo, the LTO voted in officers in December and provided us with a draft of bylaws this month. In looking through them, I found some inconsistencies, typos, and the font was so small that our resident population would find it difficult to read. I also think that they misunderstood that they represented all Salvo residents and thought that they were a board of directors. I met with the president and vice president and went over the markup that I did, and they asked if I would be willing to make the changes for them. In looking at it, I used their information with the corrections and language pertaining to law, creating a document that would be easy for elderly residents to read, added a table of contents, and translated it into Spanish. I have sent it to all officers of the LTO and requested that they review it and let me know if anything else needs to be changed. And once it's finalized, I've asked them to sign it and provide the sign-in sheet from the December meeting when the bylaws were approved by the membership, a draft budget, which I offered to help with, and I will then officially fund them at the current state rate of $6 per unit. Once I have that, I have also offered to make 50 color copies in both languages for distribution. We will also put them on our website. Florence Heights. I have found a resident who is willing to start this process up and am going to refer the person to Mr. Echeverria for help with the elections. Cahill, I have polled the residents and regarding startup of a tenant association, and there's not been an interest, but I am not looking at it as a lost cause and will continue to reach out. News. Special thanks to our executive team and the accounting department for discovering a phishing scam attempt by a scammer posing as a vendor of that the state uses for liability insurance for all housing authorities. This would have catastrophically resulted in over $170,000 being sent to the scammers. This was reported to EOHLC, triggering the state to notify all housing authorities to stop the scam. Great job, team. Our toy drive was a huge success. Our staff delivered many bags of toys to families at Florence Heights and Hampshire Heights and our scattered sites. Getting the gifts organized and delivered to the families we housed this past holiday season was a team effort for many of my staff, and I thank those who had a hand in helping our family. I thank those who had a hand in helping our families have a happy holiday. Residents have expressed their thanks and gratitude for what they received. We had a very generous donation of 4 brand new 20-inch bicycles. These bicycles were donated by a private member of the community in memory of her father, who was a faithful donor of bicycles in his lifetime. To give them out, we conducted a raffle to find homes for them. We picked 2 entries from each family site and contacted the parents directly to inform them that their child's name was chosen. Each child was given a bicycle, a helmet, and a bike lock. We held celebrations for 3 Kings Day at both Hampshire Heights and Florence Heights. We had participation from 11 families, which included 19 children. All families were able to enjoy family-friendly cultural music, pizza, and desserts. We were able to give gifts to all the children in attendance, and these items were such like children's books, backpacks, various toys, and even a toddler bike. To foster the warmth of the holiday spirit and foster a greater sense of community pride, we encouraged residents of Hampshire Heights and Florence Heights to decorate their doors for the holiday that they celebrate and submit a picture to the office to be entered into a door decorating contest. We successfully had a handful of residents drop off pictures of their decorated doors, and 4 winners were chosen and given a gift card. We continue to coordinate vaccine clinics with the Northampton Department of Public Health. And if anyone is in need of a vaccine, please contact the RSC for your property and they will make the connection for you. As stated in the bylaws, the Housing Authority and its board are committed to advocating for low-income housing in the interest of tenants and residents, as well as forming partnerships within the Northampton community in order to create and support quality, affordable housing with dignity for low-income residents of the city. This month, I want to share a huge success story. I'm happy to say that we've been incredibly successful over the last 14 months working to solve the housing crisis in Northampton. The application process can be a daunting one, especially for those who do not have permanent housing. Our team was able to streamline the gathering of required documentation and what is input into the system that is frequently missed, which causes delays and/or lost opportunities. This closed the gap for these individuals and helped to smooth out application processes. Using these collaborations has helped identify openings and ensure people who are in most need to be on the list are correctly prioritized. By creating these community partnerships with Dr. Jessica Bossi, Manna, their team, Jess Tilley, various caseworkers at local shelters, hospitals, and rest homes, we've housed more than 50 individuals and families who had been in shelters, hospitals, or houseless. Under the rail bridge is clear and City Hall steps are much improved and Pulaski Park has emptied out. This collaboration therefore opened up beds in the local shelters to get additional people off the streets. Furthering community collaborations and attending the Ward 3 Neighborhood Association meeting, we learned that the Bridge Street school sign was broken. I offered to have our team fix it and it was repaired in less than 24 hours. Additionally, Kathy Service, a resident of Ward 3, thanked us for allowing a meeting at one of our sites for Dementia Friends of Massachusetts to spread dementia awareness, and noted that it was very helpful and asked if they could hold these at all of the properties, which we plan to allow. If board members have any questions or comments regarding this report, please feel free to email me and I'll get back to you. So ends the executive director's report. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Director Leeper. I know we all want to raise our hands and congratulate, but I'm going to say no, we're not going to actually take the time now to congratulate or to be critical of the report. Instead, as Director Leeper mentioned, I'm going to ask anyone who has any specific questions about that to send those by email to Director Leeper. And the reason for this is that none of those items that were mentioned in the director's report are things that we can speak about now because they aren't on the posted agenda. And there may be, it doesn't mean that there may not be other opportunities to speak about those things when we can post those particular focused items on the agenda, but not tonight. And that will then, and as tempting as it is to, as I said, offer any congratulations or criticisms, I'm not going to do that and ask other people to be patient, and instead turn to the next item of business.
Point of information. I have a point of information. Was the executive report in the package?
No.
No, it's, you can read you can listen to the recording again if you want to. Yeah, you'd have
I
to
know that, but I was just wondering because I've seen some of them that were in the packet. So I just got it hand delivered, so I just wasn't sure where it was. And so you're saying that we're not going to be able to speak on, ask some questions on them?
No, we're not going to speak to any of the items in the executive director report because they're not on the posted agenda. But what we are going to do is move to the next item, which is the approval of the December 2023 minutes. So I'll ask for motion from the floor. And I see Commissioner Tarbutton. Is that a motion to approve?
No, I have a question on the minutes.
First, I need to have a motion to approve in a second, and then I'll.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Jones. Is there a second?
Yes.
Is there a second, please?
Second.
Okay, now I'm going to ask for any additions, corrections, or deletions. Commissioner Tarbutton, addition, correction, deletion?
Yes. When I read this, I was just thinking of one time we had a meeting, and I know that what's his name, Driscoll had said brevity, just touch on the thing. So, but anyway, I appreciate reading this. I did see some things that I wanted to point out. There are a little bit of a incorrection on the present. There's a person is not Linda. I'm just not going to say name. It's Lisa. And then the other, there's a very last name. It's spelled a little differently. I looked it up. It's Judy, and there's no A and only one L-I. And then also in the comments that I made, it's not a big deal, but capital E for my name. And
I'm sorry. Can you just tell me where you're looking? You're looking at the roll call part of it, just so I can make corrections is all.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. And on your name, you said
capital E. Joella. At the bottom, at the next page. And I wanted to make sure, because it seems a little misleading, when it says it's nice to sleep through the night, I said greetings from Texas because I was sleeping nice in Texas. So I just wanted to make sure that that's understood. And then read a statement to the board. And I would have liked that to be included, but maybe we're dealing with brevity here. And then well, that's it. As far as I have some other concerns too, but I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you, Commissioner Tarbutton. Any additions, corrections, or deletions from other commissioners? Okay, if not, oh, yes, Commissioner Jones, please.
Thank you. Yeah, just to what Joella said with their comments, I think it's a bit awkward for the minutes to reflect that the commissioner then read a statement to the board and we don't know what that was. And I kind of think as far as making it accurate, the minutes accurate, that should probably be in there because I think it was a prepared statement the way I recall it.
Yeah, and I do think that we have done that in the past. So if there is a written statement, Commissioner Tarbutton, I don't know if we have that written statement. It could be attached then and included for the official record. So I think the thing we could even ask, make that change now as an additional to include the written statement by Commissioner Tarbutton with the understanding she'll forward that to you, Madam Secretary, for then inclusion.
So
yeah.
My question is, so on one level, you said if I wanted to see something, I could look at the recording. So you can't look at the recording and get that? You won't? I'll send it to you, but I just wanted to make sure we're being consistent here.
No, I think that okay, so hold on one sec. We don't want to create a lot of work for people. If you haven't written that document, then that's fine.
I did. It's written, but on some paper I have to find. I'm still not totally unfolded here, so I'll get it to you.
No rush. I don't think, right? I'm asking Commissioner Jones, would you be satisfied with a correction then and then we'll accept all the corrections that would say that we would include the written statement by Commissioner Tarbutton, and then we'll take that at your convenience, Commissioner Tarbutton.
As long as it's done in a timely manner, no objection.
Does that sound okay, Commissioner Tarbutton?
Sure.
Great. Okay. Commissioner Cancel, please.
Yes, thank you. I did notice a couple of inconsistencies as well with the minutes. One was because there was on the minutes it says that we did not have a treasurer's report in our bylaws in 2021, but we did in fact have that in our latest on our last draft of our bylaws, or the approved bylaws, that is from 2021. There was a treasurer's report, but the minutes state otherwise.
Yeah, and so if that's actually a statement that was made in the minutes, and now you're noting that it was an incorrect statement, that's a different matter. I think that what we can do, I'm not sure. So I'm not sure. So first of all, Director Leeper, and I asked this at the last meeting, and I think that's in the minutes. The accepted and approved 2021 bylaws do include or do not include a treasurer's report among the listed agenda?
I'm pulling it up right now just so that I can verify.
Yeah.
I'm going through them right now. So on page 6 of 7, it does say in the agenda that there's a treasurer's, in the order of business and manner of voting, that there's a treasurer's report.
Okay, so I think you're correct, Commissioner Cancel, that we asked about that, or I know that there was a question during that debate. And an incorrect answer was given, which is that it's not part of the 2021 bylaws listed agenda. Am I correct in that? Is that how you answered in the meeting last month? Or Commissioner Cancel, is that what you're speaking to? That the director answered in the negative about them being included in the 2021 official minutes, bylaw?
Yeah, correct.
Yes.
Correct. Yes,
And
thank you.
so if you said that, Director Leeper, we know now that it was an error. So
Yeah.
I'm not really sure whether, so when we talk about additions, corrections, or deletions, it's not correcting what you said, because
I did say it.
in fact, you did say the wrong, that you gave, and you mistakenly said that it was not part of the 2021 bylaws. And that was a mistake. I'm not sure how to notate in our acceptance of the minutes that there was a statement in error that noted that the 2021 minutes did not include a treasurer's report. Do you have a suggestion, Commissioner Cancel? Would there be something that would be a notation at the end of the official minutes that says, as part of the additions, corrections, and deletions, Commissioner Cancel noted that the statement made by Director Leeper was incorrect?
Well, no, not necessarily. I think what we should do is add the part, because if I remember correctly, Director Leeper did later on. You had asked her, once you asked her, she did look and she did say that it was in the 2021
Oh, you're right. You're
approved
right. Yeah,
bylaw.
Now I remember
It's just that part wasn't included in the minutes.
Oh, then that's an addition, and that's an important one.
Okay.
I'm
Director
sorry,
Leeper,
Commissioner Cancel, can you just tell me what page you're on?
he might not have them open in front of him. Here's the point.
Okay,
If
okay.
you see in the minutes, you'll see that there is a point where, and this is what happened in the meeting, you said that they weren't part. And then I think I asked again, and you confirmed that, yes, they were part. So,
I'll find
but
it.
what Commissioner Cancel is saying is
Yeah.
that correction that you made in the meeting isn't included in the
In the
minutes.
minutes, okay.
So that would be
So
a
I can
good
fix that.
addition. So would we say that's the addition you'd like to see? Commissioner Cancel? Yeah, so if you look back at the recording of the meeting, you'll see then where then that's corrected. And and Commissioner Cancel thumbs up. So I think we understand now that that's a good correction, I mean, addition, and we have the other corrections mentioned by Commissioner Tarbutton.
I have
I'll
that.
add-
And I'll
I'll
check
add-
the document in its entirety for the correct way to spell your name, Commissioner Tarbutton Springfield.
Okay, so that being said, with those corrections and the addition, I'll ask then the secretary to call the roll for the approval. Oh, wait a minute. We had a motion and a second, right?
Yes,
I'll ask the director then I'm sorry, the secretary then, please, to call the roll.
yes, approval of the December 2023 minutes with the modifications as discussed. Chairperson Carney.
Yes.
Thank you. Vice Chairperson Cancel.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Tarbutton Springfield.
I'm gonna abstain and wait till the corrections are there. So thank you.
Commissioner Richards.
Yes.
Thank you. Madam Chair, you have 4 yeas and 1 abstention.
That motion carries. Thanks, everybody. That brings us up then to the resolution under old business, which is the adoption of the utility allowance schedule. And that is effective January 1st for all Section 8 programs in the federal family units. Could I ask if there someone would offer a motion, please, to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
And a second, please.
Second.
Okay, and then I'm going to turn it over to Director Leeper. Would you give us the explanation of the resolution?
Yes, resolution number 2023-11, adopting a revised utility allowance schedule for the Section 8 and Federal Florence Heights programs. Whereas the Northampton Housing Authority operates federal housing programs, including Housing Choice Voucher Program, which is Section 8 and funded by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. And whereas regulations promulgated by HUD require that public housing authorities establish utility allowances for the purpose of providing participants with an allowance for a reasonable consumption of utilities by thrifty, energy conservative households, consistent with the requirements of safe, sanitary, and healthy living environment. And whereas the regulations require that the utility allowance be revised to reflect current costs, utilizing costs and rates available to participants. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the utility allowance schedule, which is Form HUD 52667, Summary of Allowance for Tenant Furnished Utilities, provided by Happy Software Inc., shall take effect on January 1st, 2024. And further be it resolved that the NHA will provide Section 8 participants and federal family residents with information they can use to apply for assistance.
Thank you, Director Leeper. So it has been moved and seconded, and folks should have in the board resources that document that reflects the proposed utility allowances figures. So I'll ask, are there any questions? Is there any questions regarding this document and the acceptance of its So I'll then, so Director Leeper, on this utility allowance, is this a significant, can you give us a respective kind of view? Is it,
So the utility allowance is essentially like a credit to the person that is the renter or our customer. And so all of the utility allowances were increased, therefore the resident rent portion will go down. And because it's retroactive to January 1st, residents are looking at anywhere from, and this is our Section 8 and our Florence Heights people, anywhere from $6 to $25 credit for January, which will be credited towards their ledger.
Oh, okay. And this is also related, this is related just to the federal properties.
Only Florence Heights and the Section 8 program.
Right, right. Okay. All right. Hearing no discussion, then I'll ask the secretary to call the roll.
Yes, resolution 2023-11, adoption of the utility allowance schedule effective 1/1/24 for all Section 8 programs and federal family. Chairperson Carney.
Yes.
Thank you. Vice Chairperson Kensell.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Tarbutton Springfield.
I'm gonna abstain.
Thank you. Commissioner Richards.
Yes.
Thank you. Madam Chair, 4 yeas and 1 abstention.
Thank you. That motion carries. And now I want, even though we had a couple items on the agenda, we were unable to pull together our Governance and Policy Committee, this month. So I'm going to ask if we could have a motion to table this. Or yeah, and then it will be unfinished business for the next month. So may I have a motion, please?
Motion to table.
Second.
And I use the word table, but what I mean is continue to the next meeting, if folks understand it as that. Okay, moved and seconded. Would the secretary call the roll, please?
Yes, Chairperson Carney.
Yes.
Thank you. Vice Chairperson Kensell.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Tarbutton Springfield.
Yes.
Thank you. Commissioner Richards.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks everybody. So we'll hear more about that at the February meeting. And I think our final item is an update from our Community Preservation Committee Rep, Commissioner Jones, please.
Sure. I just wanted to update folks. We're at the middle of the fiscal year. and I just wanted to give people kind of an idea. The Community Preservation Committee, of which the Housing Authority has one of 9 representatives, basically deals with affordable housing, conservation, recreation, and historical preservation. We get a partial matching grant from the state. This is an example of the work that's currently being done. This is the old Burt Pitts Road property that the Housing Authority transferred out, I believe, some time ago, which has 3 houses still in a construction phase being built on it. And you could scroll down. This first one here is already completed single family housing unit, 2-bedroom. Again, Habitat for Humanity that was purchased. This is back to the other property. I guess I have them mixed up, but these houses are still under construction. Here we go. Here's the first one on Burt Pitts Road. And this is an example of what we try to do with, we combine resources. And in this case, it was a combination of conservation land purchase and was partially funded by the construction of these houses. And then there's a couple other houses in the background that are constructed at market rate. That red one you see right there is a market rate house, which partially paid for the purchase of the land to preserve it. And now there's a bike path that goes through there. There's hiking trails. So it's a multi-use property. And I was able to, these completed houses, I was able to attend a opening ceremony, I think in June, where all 3 families were represented, and they all have moved in. And in the spring, there's going to be some kind of a landscape planting gathering together. And I hope to attend that, because this particular unit is fairly close to where I live in Florence. But these two properties are both on Burt Pitts Road. So if you ever get out there, we reconvene for the spring session in mid-February. I know there will be one other submission from Habitat for another house. We don't know any particulars yet. The one thing I'm really pleased about in the last fall session is we were able to afford and approve a housing development for 20 affordable units on Laurel Street, also in Florence, fairly close to the old community gardens, the original community garden spread, if people know where that is. And the thing that's so cool about that is all the units, there's 20 of them, will be at 60% of area median income. And the way a lot of these things go is you get, and this is being built under the supervision of Valley Community Development. And the way a lot of these things go is you'll get some development, and they'll say, oh yeah, we have 20% set aside for affordable housing and the other 80 are at market rate, and which is just way up there. But in this particular unit, it's all 20 units and they're all affordable housing and they're all 60% of area median income. And the CPC approved $420,000 for that project. And that was only 3% of the total funds requisitioned to build that. So do the math. It's astronomical what it costs to just build 20 units of affordable housing. And since I do have the floor, I will congratulate Kara while I think of it as those 50 folks, because we have a national crisis in this country with affordable housing, not just here in Northampton, and we're all trying to do what we can do. But each year we set aside at least 10% the CPC grant that we get for the fiscal year, and that amounts to $232,380 that's guaranteed. Our total budget was $2.2 million and change for the year. We have about, I don't know, $600,000 or $700,000 for our spring session. We do have 2 housing representatives out of the 9. We have Beverly Bates, mayoral appointee from the Housing Partnership. And this group is really committed to affordable housing because we all come from, there's conservation, historic preservation, but I think 2 elected at-large members. And I really think everybody really buys into the idea that we have to push that affordable housing envelope. And usually what happens is CPC money is used to leverage other grants and loans and whatever, because we only have 2.2 million to work with in an entire fiscal year. And that's just a drop in the bucket compared to what's going on. But we can apply that to leverage. And when people see that, oh yeah, Community Preservation Committee signed on to this particular project, it does increase the chances of stuff happening. And the last thing I'll say is if you read the Hampshire Gazette, there was an article on January 19th about the Affordable Homes Act that Governor Maura Healey has put forward and how 16 State House legislators signed a letter to the governor to partially amend that. And one of the things that the bill does that they want to expand is more money for public housing. And part of that is generated by real estate transfer fees of more than $1 million that can be levied by a municipality. So Northampton could do something like that. The problem is when you compare Northampton to Metro Boston, there's a lot more opportunities for that to happen in the latter category than in little old Northampton. So they're trying to amend that so it's more favorable to Western Massachusetts, which is part of we all know, the never-ending fight of Western Mass against the rest of the state. But it is a bipartisan letter and everybody signed on to it. And I think that's about all I have. I just felt it was important to kind of update the board on where we're at, what we're trying to do. And I'm really pleased with the Laurel Street housing development, and hopefully we can get more things like that. And it will take time for this to turn over. And the other part of it, just real quick, is there's also, since I'm the labor guy, there's an organized labor letter on the same bill, the Affordable Homes Act, to make sure that a large chunk of these homes are built by labor, because it's quality work. And if you look at the same people that built the casinos in the state, were all under budget and on time, and we can do the same thing in affordable housing, and we're already doing it. So the Healey bill kind of leaves a door open a little bit for a little loose language on that front. And that's it. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, we really appreciate that. And while would have lots of congratulations, I'm sure, and even some questions, similarly, because these items that you mentioned, all of the details about the CPC and all of those things are not specific items on our agenda. We're not going to deliberate those. However, I'm going to ask, would it be okay for people who had some specific questions for you about that? Could they email you directly?
Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, happy.
Okay, and
happy to.
commissioners have that email address as their list of the other board members.
I actually do not.
Then
I get what you're saying, but I just would ask if you can make an exception. I just have one question for them about this committee. I think it feels stifling and that we're being curtailed, and I wonder why. Because I want to say how wonderful what he's doing. I have a couple of questions with it. So you're saying we can't even ask that? I don't have his email. I've never emailed him.
Could you state your email, please, Jeff?
My personal,
okay.
it's B as in boy, E as in Edward, Y as in young, E as in Edward, Jeff, Jeff at Comcast.net. It's probably also on the website, I'm sure, of the Housing Authority.
It is, and it's also in many of the emails that we sent out.
Sure.
Okay. So yeah, that is the case, that just like the secretary's report, or unless there is an item on the agenda, then we're not going to deliberate, meaning offer our opinions, do any of those things. If you have a specific question, please email Commissioner Jones and he'll be able to get back to you on that. And there being no other business on the agenda, I'll ask then, please, is there a final motion?
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, and this motion is non-debatable. So all those in favor? Or you can ask if you want to call the roll. We can officially close out. Secretary Leeper?
Sure. Would you like me to call the roll again?
Yeah,
Okay.
but to adjourn,
Madam-
please.
Yes.
Yes.
To adjourn, Commissioner Carney?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Chair Carney, geez. Vice Chair Cancel?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Tarbutton Springfield.
I'll say no, and if Jeff, I'd like to him to stay online. I do have a question for him. I feel better questioning because email's been messed up. There's some phishing going on here, so I'd like to ask him a question.
Okay, I'm sorry, Commissioner Richards?
Yes.
Thank you. I feel like I'm missing someone because of the interruption. Jeff Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones, thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. 4 yeses and 1 no.